Welcome to Goldboys Live, presented by Pickett Sports. Sleeper picks breaking down, well, one game tonight, maybe a game tomorrow, then maybe not a bunch of games for a whole bunch of days. But breaking it all down, we got Brad, we got Josh, Burroaks. Welcome, boys. I guess we'll start with, people like looking at car crashes. As hard as it is to admit it, it's hard to look away. And we got one of those with the Celtics. I kind of think they're getting a little too much crap. I just think Miami's just played incredibly well. It's
Yeah.
Miami winning more than Boston losing. But Brad, I'll start with you. What are your takeaways here from this series, or any lessons going forward with this just a stunning run here by the Heat?
Listen, the Heat, most sports are about which team gets hot at the right time. And that's the Miami Heat. It's like people are acting like the Celtics are losing to your run of the mill 8 seed. Like, this is a Miami Heat team who very easily could have been the first or second seed in the NBA this season. There have been some issues with Missoula that I've had, that I've been pretty clear about. Like, when you make changes to your starting lineups, it not necessarily is always a good thing. You might want to say you're getting, players with get more spacing out there, change things up. But where it hurts you, and it's been evident every time he's changed this rotation, is defensively. They're not rotating well enough. They look lost. There's times when they go to double and clearly they don't know which guy is supposed to step up, which is killing them. But like you said, when a team's shooting 61, 67% from the field, they're hard to beat regardless who you're playing. So I don't think this team comes back. I mean, but if there were to be any team in any situation to do it, it would got to be the Celtics to come back from a 3-0 deficit. I think I would trust them more to come back than the Lakers against Denver.
I mean, I'll jump on that point real quick, just because I would say I agree, but that's because of how good the Nuggets are. Really, I'm
exactly.
sort of complimenting them more than I am complimenting the Celtics, right? And I think with the Heat, like, I don't know, I suppose there's a chance that they just all of a sudden revert back to the regular season team that wasn't good. But there was a ton of injuries in there. This is the lineup that they're playing with after the Hero and Oladipo injury. Just as far as a takeaway, dude, like, one team has heart and grit, and one team gave up by the time the second quarter came around. They felt like they didn't have answers. And at this point, like, if you listen to anything in terms of Boston talk radio or anything of that nature, I'm sure it's a lot of like, all right, well, I guess we got to break these guys up. How are we going to pay like 9 figures combined for Jalen and Jason? Like, that's their conversation, because those fans also don't see a way in which this team comes back. And I wouldn't feel like I need to hedge the series bet I made at the beginning of this for the Heat at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I love what the Heat have been doing. I'm a Bulls fan, so I still like Jimmy Butler. I wasn't super happy with how they kind of ran him out of Chicago, and then kind of tried to smear him a little bit, calling him a diva, saying Jimmy went Hollywood. I watch a lot of his interviews and stuff like that. He's just very blunt, and it rubs people the wrong way. But that's because he came from Chicago with Noah and Boozer and all those guys who had the same mentality. It was like, yo, when you're on the court, hey, you missed your assignment. Yeah, you're right, I did, but we're gonna go down here, we're gonna get a stop, we're gonna get this ball back, and we're gonna go again. So I'm a big Jimmy fan. I like the Heat. I think it'll be an awesome series, Heat versus Nuggets. The Celtics just haven't really had an answer for Bam Adebayo either. He's been playing really well. They don't have a matchup that's been really able to stop him until last night when he didn't play a majority of the fourth quarter. That was the first time he didn't get 19 or more versus the Celtics. That's well above his season average. So that's kind of how I've been playing this one, is I just have liked the Adebayo matchup, and I've been taking him for 20 plus while it was plus money.
Curious what you guys think of game 4, Heat laying a point and a half. The odds makers have finally come around saying, all right, I guess the Heat might be equal or the better team. But I want to take a step back, and you guys can answer both at the same time. We'll start again with Brad. Is there a larger lesson here? Because the Heat were getting 4.5 last night. People were betting Boston like they knew the final score. Even at the half, as Miami is drubbing them, Boston's favored by 7 in the second half. And I tweeted this out. I was like, what's the second half money line on Miami? And I gave it out at plus 300, plus 310, or whatever it was. Is there a larger lesson here? Is there something to take away where, hey, man, sometimes you just got to throw the numbers away and trust your eyes? So I'm curious what you guys think about that in into game 4. Does Boston, which way are you playing Boston, Miami game 4? Brad, what do you got?
Yeah, when you tweeted that out, I was so mad. I was at the bar and like I just kept loading every time I'm trying to take Miami, just loading. And I asked the freaking bartender for the Wi-Fi passcode,
The
and
worst.
she took literally forever. Like I didn't get it till like halfway through the third quarter. So I never got to play that, but I did take some of minus 17.5 for Miami. Listen, you're right, but I also think my biggest issue with last night's game is I don't think he should have made the lineup change. I think he should have kept Robert Williams in the starting lineup. You saw how much they were able to eat the inside with Robert Williams out. Um, but yeah, like we got to stop believing that teams are just going to miraculously turn it around. Like it's happened in both game threes where we just thought the Lakers were going to turn it around against the Nuggets. Not that the Lakers have been playing bad. So I guess I should say maybe the Nuggets were just going to stop being as great as they have been, or that Miami would not win this game at home. So yeah, we should throw the numbers out and just trust what we're seeing. I do think the Celtics win game three. I just don't believe the
Game four, you
Celtics
mean?
game four, excuse me. I just don't believe the Celtics teams get swept. I'm not buying it. At some point, Jason Tatum's gonna go off. At some point, he's gonna have one of those 50 burger nights, 40 burger nights, and when he does, that team's hard to stop.
Yeah, I mean, he's gonna have to get it in by next game at this point.
Yeah.
So like, there's not gonna have any other chance. But like, I mean, I would say to answer your question simply, like, hell yeah, Will, like 100%. I mean, partly with these future bets, like I'm just chasing the juice. I'm just looking at things, and I'm just playing certain margins. Plus 400 for the Heat to win the series was like, well, there's zero chance I'm putting anything on minus 500 for the Celtics to win it. And this is the best I'm going to get at this point. So it was worth it there. But then you look at the Nuggets, and it was once again, yeah, just playing the eye test, looking at it and going, man, like good on the Lakers for winning that Dubs series, but that's not the same Dubs team that we even saw last season. And I think they and the Kings are both exposed as like pretty fraudulent at this point, while the Lakers are getting their butts kicked after beating the Dubs who beat the Kings. So I think at this point, yeah, believe what you see, play the numbers when it comes to the long and the futures there and the series prices. But as far as like individual games and such, that I just give ourselves a little bit of a break with the Celtics series, because like their variance from three really does mean that there was always the possibility that they just came out scorching hot in at least one of those games, and no matter what the Heat did, that they were just going to get pummeled by threes from the Celtics, and that game still hasn't come. Maybe it'll be this game four, but I would still say I don't see the Heat getting getting handed to them, getting their asses handed to them essentially. And so if you were looking at them with a small number, or if there was a way to tease it up, or you wanted to play that, like I would just bet against the Heat getting mauled. I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah, part of the thing with the number is the books are always concerned about their liability too. It feels like the Celtics were a big public play. Everybody thought that game threes are always tough, especially when you just lost two at home. So I get why the books are kind of moving the odds and shifting with where the public's going. But yeah, I couldn't believe the stuff on ESPN where it's like, oh, the Celtics still have over a 50% chance to win this series. It's like, dude, they just lost the opening two games at home. Like, you really think they can win four in a row? Like, they have to tear these out in Miami's building, and that's Miami does catch a little shit for fans showing up late and stuff like that, but that building's always packed by the time halftime, fourth quarter comes around. It's tough to blame guys not wanting to show up pregame and get in the stadium with how gorgeous the weather is down there in Miami. But that building's always capacity. It's always a raucous crowd, and they give a shit about basketball there. So the idea that the Celtics were gonna tear off, a win at home and then run a couple right back in Miami's face down in Miami seemed a little ridiculous to me after the Celtics choked away both home games.
So I bet Miami on the money line for game four, and I'm going to contradict myself because Brad said something that to me is crazy that I also sort of agree with, and that is I could see the Celtics winning tomorrow. And sports are funny, man. Like if the Celtics win tomorrow, which look, it's a coin toss game according to the market, lines 1.5, 2. All of a sudden, you're back in Boston for game 5. Boston's at home; they're favored. Not that that's mattered, But if they win that, then we're in 6. Then all of a sudden, the pressure is all on Miami game 6. Again, we're getting ahead of ourselves. Miami could win by 30 tomorrow, and it wouldn't be shocked. Miami could just win tomorrow, wouldn't be shocked. But these things can sort of change quickly. So, man, if it ever got back to a game, I mean, all you got to do is go one at a time. You get to a game 5, then you get to a game 6. Then who knows? This thing can swing. I don't see it happening. I do like Miami tomorrow, but it's not like the craziest thing in the world, like what Brad says, where, hey, Boston wins tomorrow. They're home for game 5. And who knows? What number would you need? As I look this up, I think it's 8-1 for Boston. What number would you
7-1? Yeah.
What number would you need to bet Boston on the series right now?
Higher than 7-1.
Higher than 7-1. Yeah, man.
I'm with you.
Yeah,
What number,
you know what's
10
interesting?
to 1, 12 to 1.
Well, interestingly, real quick, like similar to what you're saying, Will, was yesterday I tweeted out how Jason Tatum was plus 400 to be the NBA Finals MVP. Jimmy Butler was plus 500, up 2-0. Again, like the disrespect, dude. Right? I wasn't really gonna hit it because I was like, actually, Jamal Murray at like plus 165 right now feels kind of nice, more than anybody, because Joker was like minus 210. But along the same lines of like disrespect to the Heat, and yeah, at 7-1, sure, like still not worth it to me, but it's obviously pretty juicy. But yeah, I think it's the Heat series, and then I'm kind of just looking at ways to bet the Nuggets continuously.
If Murray has another 30-point first half in the
Oh
final,
my God,
that MVP ticket would be looking real nice, because man, he was fucking hooping.
Yeah,
there I am seeing an 8-1 at Bet Rivers. Would 8-1 do it for you? 9-1? Not there.
25, yeah, like 25
like,
to 1.
What is it? 0 for 149 when teams are down 3-0.
I would need
Come on, man. Come on.
7-1 at DraftKings. 8-1.
They wouldn't post odds long enough for me to take it.
The only way I would play it is if I had a future on the Heat from the beginning of the season. Like, I'd be like, oh, well, let me just cover my bases here.
But if the number's high enough, like let's just say 8-1, and you think like the scenario I laid out where they win tomorrow. Let's just say they win tomorrow. All of a sudden, you can kind of make money off it. Where you could take the Heat. What are they going to be? Plus 6 or 7, maybe even a little higher in game 5. Then you can just sort of get clever with it. Wherever you got to game 6 and you're sitting on plus 800. If they got the 7, you have a huge middle. Again, we're getting way ahead of ourselves, but
no, it's worth looking into though. I would just ask, like, because Brad said, you don't see the Celtics getting swept, but like they just kind of look soft like baby poop. So what part of their like demeanor was like they ain't getting swept? You know what I mean?
That second half last night was like the second half of when you're down 3-0 and you're just checking out for the season. That felt like exit stage left last night.
You know what's crazy? Why did Mazzulla take him out to start the fourth? Like, it's not like they needed rest. Like, there's a blowout brewing. Your teams, you start your starters for the fourth quarter going into the next series. They're going to have a better showing in that fourth quarter because generally the team blowing them out doesn't play nearly as hard. They start jacking up more shots. They protect themselves. Then you get that momentum bringing into the next game. I think him sitting them to start the fourth quarter was the worst thing possible.
Yeah, he doesn't know what he's doing out there, man. Yeah,
I
fully agree.
It's gross.
Yeah. And look, they'll probably have a new coach next year. I'm not a fan of Mazzulla. He got thrust into this. He doesn't look ready. Definitely looks like a deer in the headlights. But I mean, I do think did we overrate the talent of Boston? And we'll get to the Denver game here in a minute. Is it possibly overrated Boston's talent?
Yes, but can I say one thing before we switch off this game too? Like everyone's talking about Mazzulla is taking like the bullets for the team, blah, 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 nonsense, right? But what I've noticed the most about this game, about this series, is that one team looks like they are actually practicing and doing what they are intending to do. Like everything has a purpose and a plan. Where the Celtics, especially defensively, this was a good defensive unit during the regular season, where they just kind of look like they're just going through the motions, like they're not prepared, like they haven't practiced these situations. It's kind of bad luck, man, for anyone who wants to defend.
And just to add to it real quick, like to me, it's about Ime Udoka. Like 2 seasons ago, Brad Stevens is there. This team looks just as soft in the Eastern Conference Finals, loses to the Heat. Last year, Ime's there. They're all bought in on defense. They're all playing like solidly. And then like deservedly so, Mecca gets canned. And then and then we move into 33-year-old Joe, second row Joe, who loved the dude even as a player, but just wasn't ready for this.
There's a certain part of the female anatomy that is said to be undefeated, and it continues to be undefeated. Yeah, what were you going to say, Burroaks?
I feel like we're not giving the Heat nearly enough credit either. I mean, Jimmy had 8 steals in that first game. He had he's been swiping the ball. The Heat are good. They're a
Yeah, they
defense.
are.
They're a very good defensive team. That's Spoelstra harps on that. Jimmy, I know we don't have captains in the NBA, but like that's Jimmy's team, and that's what he does. Like he is going to dog you on defense every play. He doesn't come out. He'll play all. I've watched him play in that Lakers bubble series. He played all but 32 seconds of the game and damn near had to be carried off the court. Like people got to put more respect on Miami and Jimmy Butler's name, in my opinion.
Yeah, there's truth to that. And I think Butler's getting plenty of respect. Look, Butler's awesome. I do think there is something to that of like everyone just knocking Boston without giving Miami their proper credit. And like, look, Miami's just going out there and beating them. I mean, people were kind of clowning Boston. Like, how can you give layups to Duncan Robinson? Well, it's like, you know what?
Yeah.
Duncan Robinson's a really good 3-point shooter.
Yeah.
So when he goes to shoot, you kind of have to go for it. And he drives it. Like there's reasons.
That's
Jimmy, why he's out there.
Yeah, and I think Miami's conditioning too. Everyone talks about, you know what, Heat culture. They're all in great shape. The every other night nature of this series really favors Miami, where they're not running out of gas. And even Friday night, we've seen that a million times. Team down 1-0 at home for game 2. They run the other team out of the gym, and Boston had them hanging a bunch of times, down 10, down 12. Usually that gets to 20. Miami just says, you know what, we got our split on the road. We'll see you in Boston. We'll see you in Miami. Miami just kept clawing, cut it to 7, cut it to 5. And before you know it, Miami won the game. And I think the conditioning is probably a big factor in it too. Anything else to add on this before we get to Denver, LA?
Nope.
I'll start here. I have a bunch of thoughts on player props, but I just think Denver does it tonight. I think a couple things. I think Golden State took more out of LA than maybe we realized, just going around those screens, covering them baseline to baseline. They did a lot of running in that series. And look, Davis and LeBron, they can do it. They just can't do it every night. And I think knowing this is over, and LeBron's smart enough to know this is probably over, I just don't know that we get a full-hearted effort from LeBron and Davis. I could see Denver coming out early and taking a lead, and just I could see LA not having the fight in them. I worry about their energy level, their effort. So I like Denver. I think they cover. I think they win. I wouldn't be shocked if they win with some margin. Brad, start us off here. Lakers, Nuggets. What do you have? Side, total, player props, whatever way you want to go here.
Yeah, I like Denver here. It's like, but we talked about this before last game where Denver took 2 of the Lakers' best shots and still beat them.
Yeah,
like the Lakers played really good basketball. It would take like foul trouble from Jokic early and Murray having an off night, I think, for them to win.
Well, can I actually add to that real quick, Brad? Because they threw Scott Foster in there for game 3, and that almost worked. Yeah. Joker got some foul trouble, and then Joker was like, whatever, Murray's got me 30. Like, he tried, dude, and Joker was like, nah.
You're so right. I don't like the price. I don't like the price, but I do have some player props. I'm going to play them individually as well, but we'll just talk about my sleeper. I did Djokovic over 13.5 rebounds and Rui Hachimura over 13.5 points. $10 wins you 32-22. Joker, had the off night. We could talk about that all you want, but this guy's been a rebounding machine, so I can cross that out. I like this line here. I think that a lot of the Lakers are going to be pressing hard. And what I mean by that is they're going to be laying it all out there. They're going to be taking more shots earlier in the shot clock, which leaves a lot of available rebounds for Joker. But at the end of the day, I think it's going to be too little, too late. Joker cleans up the glass. He'll hit this number probably by the third quarter. And then Rui had an off shooting night and still hit 13 points. I think he was like 6 for 12 or 6 for 15 or something. Got 13 points. He was missing a couple of layups. So I like this number for him. What we know about Rui, this man has the ball in his hand. He's not looking to pass.
He ain't going to pass it. His pass button's broken. My goodness.
Those are my 2 props for the game. And those are probably going to be the only things that I play unless I take something live.
I'll jump in real quick because I got a couple of things for sure. I like the Rui pick, but there's a couple of things I was looking at. One is definitely KCP. I'm looking at his threes in this one, and I'm just looking at the volume. Like, he's basically a volume shooter for them at this point. Only Jamal and Michael Porter Jr. have averaged more threes in this series so far than him. He's at like 6.7 attempts per game. That includes the second game of the series where he played like 26 minutes because they had to pull him in the first half when he had 2-3 fouls in the second quarter at that point. So he was limited in minutes, still got 5 attempts off. his prop is at 1.5 threes right now. It's like minus 130 for that. But like if you wanted to get him for 3, plus 220 on DraftKings. If you wanted to get him for 4 made threes, that would be plus what we got 600 here on DraftKings as well. So like there's pretty good odds for him to hit a bunch of threes, and he's pulling 7 to 8 of them as long as he doesn't get, hauled off the floor with foul trouble. So looking at him going under Aaron Gordon again, points, rebounds, and assists, it's at 20.5. He hasn't not hit that yet because he's just busy literally face guarding LeBron. So I mean, there's not much time to like go out and get rebounds or get on the fast break when you're literally like, I can't get switched off LeBron, so I'm fighting through every screen. I'm face guarding him and just trying to keep like my hand in his shorts basically the whole time. So that's why he's gone under, and they're fine with that. They're like, dude, that's your job. We have like 6 other quality NBA scorers on our team, not to mention Joker. So both those guys for sure. And then Austin Reeves, like if this is the last game for him as a Laker, probably not. He'll probably get re-signed, but he's going to get big money, and you kind of want to go out with a bang, right? Leave everybody with a memory of you dropping like 4 threes or whatever, and 25 points, what have you. So 26.5 points, rebounds, and assists, because he gets rebounds and assists a ton too. But the points are at like 17.5, and he's been averaging 21.5 in this series. So still seems pretty low to me.
Yeah, great rebounding night in the last game too. What he had 7, I want to say. Yeah. I took him live at half for over 5.5. I got, it wasn't a great number. I had to eat a pretty good amount of juice. I think it was like minus 135, minus 140, but I just
not
saw
juice
him.
If it wins.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. You don't pay unless you lose. So,
right.
But yeah, I'm with you too. I've been fading Aaron Gordon a ton lately, just because his only baskets seem to come off of rebounds and putbacks, or at the free throw line. And he is pretty decent at making his free throws. I like Brad's Rui player a lot. He just doesn't seem. He gets a good matchup here. They don't seem to have an answer for him. He stretches the floor. He can put the ball on the baseline. He can go to the rim. What else was I gonna say? Oh yeah, I like Will's play here. I think the Nuggets handle business. I like him with the +3. I like him on the money line. The Lakers, they just don't have the wind. Like we were talking about endurance earlier, the Lakers are super old. And what Denver can play up tempo, especially because they play at altitude all the time. When they come down into LA, they just have a lot more lung capacity and shit like that. That's what happens when you play at Mile High 41 games of the year. So yeah, I just think that Denver's going to run the Lakers off the floor here. The Lakers really only hope is to slow the ball down and play the entire 24 seconds of the shot clock, hope to get rebounds, hope to stop guys on the other end. And I just don't know if they have the ability to play slow and give that much defensive effort for 42 minutes.
I like LeBron under points, 25.5. Look, he can do it in spurts when he senses an opening like game 6 against Golden State, like he can turn it on. I don't know that you're going to get like focus LeBron. We're going to see a bunch of, we've seen a bunch of threes here where he's just dead tired. And his under's just been a good prop in general. So I do like LeBron under points. I'm going to go back to it here. Look, I've hit on this 2 times in a row and I've been wrong on my handicap. I don't understand the D'Angelo Russell minutes. They're getting killed with him on the floor. They're doing really well with him off the floor. I was shocked they put him back in the second half. So I've been playing his points under. He's always been horrible on defense. You need to play him where, like, the only reason he can play is when his offense is good enough to justify his defense. He hasn't even been good on offense. So I hope they don't start him. They shouldn't start him. They should cut his minutes way back to me to worry about his ego. He's not even probably going to be on the team next year. Why are you worried about his ego? I thought it's been a massive mistake. Now, Denver's better. They're not a lot better, but they are better. But I think if you're the Lakers and you look back at this series, like, why did we play Russell all these minutes? You're digging yourself a hole. So it's 10.5, maybe 11.5 some spots. So I will go Russell under points. I do like the Reeves 3 over 2, 5 of 9 in game 1, 5 of 9 in game 2, only 3 of 5 in game 3 and 5 in game 3. And one of those was in garbage time. They should have given him the ball too. That's the other thing with Russell, where it's like, if he's shooting that, you're taking the ball away from Reeves. Reeves needs more touches, more shots. So agree with Reeves. And curious what you guys think of this. Jokic is minus 180 to win Western Conference Finals MVP. They just screwed him out of the regular MVP. Are they really going to give this to Murray? I know Murray's had some nuclear quarters, some nuclear runs here.
No, they're not going to give it to Murray.
Jokic is going to win it, right? Isn't 180 cheap?
Yeah, 180 is a good price. Like, why would they give it to, like, even, like, man, I just can't see them giving it to Murray. Like
Me neither.
this is like Joker, this is your team, man. Like you did not win the MVP, which you should have.
Should have. Thank you.
So
I mean, I think it's pretty close to between him and Murray right now, just because I mean the second half killed Murray, but coming out with 30 and a half where Joker had to sit a bit because of playing, like I agree, like it's his team. If the narrative is just like who's more impactful and who's allowed Murray to get 30, like
plus
who's
it's
more
like the
important to
Super Bowl.
team.
It's the quarterback in the Super Bowl where it's like, oh, and when in doubt, just give it to the star. I don't think
even though
they just won't give it to
I
Jokic.
totally agree. The one thing I would say too, real quick about D'Lo is like I think Darvin Ham's a really freaking good coach, and I believe I like the way that he like gets the most out of certain players. I think he went back to D'Lo because he knew the effect that D'Lo was having, at least in the previous series, where him hitting a bunch of threes was incredibly helpful, right, to being able to play against the Warriors and keep pace with them in the games that Steph was still, hitting 5 or 6 or 7 threes. So they wanted that to be something that they could still turn to, and it wasn't it. And I think you're right about him not playing as much tonight, but also look at Dennis Schroeder has been pretty putrid as well.
At least he defends.
So
He's done a good job on Murray. He really can defend. He's a good defender.
Yeah, he's a better defender. That's what
Russell. They hunt Russell. They just relentlessly hunt Russell. I mean, Bruce Brown's even said that. So I don't get the Russell minutes. Burroaks, anything to add here?
No.
180 on Jokic. Is that talk me out of it? Why should I not be playing that?
If Murray comes out and hits 10 threes tonight, unless, of course, if Jokic is assisting them all, then that's to Jokic again. But
all right, how about this? I'll jump in. Play a unit on Jokic to win that award or to win a unit, and then just play like a 10th of a unit on Murray to go 30 plus or 40 plus. Because unless he does that, then you cover yourself.
Yeah, just do a little bit of math, figure out how you basically are just hedging it perfectly, right? And then just I'm with it.
And if you're not betting, if you're betting $100 or if you're betting something that you're not worried about, just put. I would comfortably endorse the Jokic pick. I just think 180 is cheap. I think he's going to win the award.
That's fair.
Yeah, I think it's a good play. I just know that a lot of guys have a tough time laying 80 cents on the dollar for props like that.
Which is a flaw. I think it's a flaw. It's not like you're holding your money forever. Sure. I mean, you could be paid out in that tonight. I mean, value is value.
Hey, I just took Jags to win the AFC South for minus 150. Yeah. Like that money's gonna be held forever.
Right.
I get it. I'm with you. I think the price is good, and I think the strategy you have of playing Murray to go off in case he's the guy who gets it from Jokic is a good play there. But like Brad said, a lot of guys that watch don't like playing unders and they don't like laying juice, and they certainly don't like playing unders and laying juice and making season long bets like that, which is a disadvantage because, again, as Will can attest to, that's how sharps make a shit ton of money. Because in the NFL, those over/under season long props, one injury, boom, you can pretty much chalk the under as a win for the entire season. Guys who are super sharp, that's how they make a lot of money, as they play season long unders on NFL props.
Yep. And
not it's our the sexiest thing. Yeah, but it makes that money for sure.
It's our job to get these people out of their bad habits, because we've been doing this a while. Some of us, and we were all young at some point. We all had bad habits, and we've sort of learned. And if you're doing this well, you're still learning. Like, try to learn every day. But look, there's a lot of truth to what you said, where there's value on things that aren't fun to watch, fun to root for, and like minus $1.80 is not sexy. It's not going to get a bunch of clicks on Twitter, but you know what? You can make a little money on it. And look, he could still lose it, but you could also put it where you bet Jokic to win the award, you bet Murray to go off, and you still win both, where they both score 30 tonight or whatever, and Jokic still gets the award. That's not impossible.
Yeah, that'd be sweet.
Love the theory. Yeah. I got one more thing for that one too. It's actually just more in game, but I've been enjoying playing some of these head-to-head prop prices that you get on DraftKings in these games, which is basically just pitting two players together. And so I'm actually looking at one, because just riding the wave of like KCP to hit 2 threes, you can get him head-to-head, his 3-point prop against Rui in this game. So Rui basically, if he hits one more 3 than Rui in this game, right, then you win your bet for KCP. And so Rui's shooting like 2 threes a game, KCP shooting 7 to 8. Like, all he has to do is hit one more of his 8, right, than Rui's 2. All that math adds up. It's like minus 110 on DraftKings still. So like, just stuff like that also is super, it's you can use some of the game theory that you're using here to talk about each one of these things and then kind of pit them together basically.
What is that under? Series player props?
Yeah, no, if you go into the game itself,
Okay.
you have an option if you click on the Nuggets and the Lakers game tonight, and then you look if you scroll over where it's like popular game lines, etc. There's one that's
Okay,
head-to-head.
head-to-head.
Head-to-head H2H player props. I think that's
Yeah.
probably what you're looking at. Let me see
Exactly.
here.
Yeah.
Oh, these are fun. I don't look at these too
Yeah.
much. I should probably
And
look
then
at
you
these a little
can
more.
do
They're
things like
fun.
combine them, like will they both combine for this
emails.
many or over under blah blah blah. So it's like
Head-to-head
there's some pretty good
three.
stuff in there. If you want to nerd out, basically though.
All right, so we got Porterling 1.5 to Hachimura. You like, let's see, Hachimura and Pope. Wow. So you got to lay 215 on the money line. So a push, you lose. But if you want to just lay a half, like you said,
Yeah.
it's minus 115.
Exactly.
It's not bad. That's really
Yeah.
not bad at all.
No, it's at minus 115 now, so people have been betting it a bit. But yeah,
Yeah,
at
I
one
like
point,
that.
Those can be really profitable and a lot of fun too. One, it gives you a different angle for watching the game.
Yeah.
But two, like they can be really profitable if you have sharp projections. If you're a big minutes guy, chances, potential. If you have sharp projections, you can make a killing on those.
And one thing to add to that with the sharp projections, if you're like basically price discovering between these books, this is where you're going to find some disparities, right? But you're going to see that like Rui might be priced to hit
Yes.
1.3 at a pretty shitty price at like minus 230 or whatever. KCP's price to hit like 2.5, almost 3 in some books. It's like an even bigger disparity than a half a 3 between them, essentially. You know what I mean? So this is where you can kind of find that stuff.
Yep, totally agree. And just from a narrative standpoint, if Nuggets are up 10, 15, whatever late, like it's possible, this is a team that traded Pope. He might want to stick a dagger in there and just stick a few threes in there later and just dance on the Lakers' grave. I would want to. I mean, that
seems like he does like that right now.
I would. I mean, these are pro athletes. They take things personal. I absolutely would too. I mean, I don't think you get that good at sports unless you got a little competitiveness to you. I mean, the Lakers got to be kicking themselves because Pope is a player they could really use that shooting and that defense. Caruso's a guy they walk out the door for nothing. And the Lakers are not that far away. They're not good enough, but they're not that far away. They've been right there in these series. In the first 2 games, they really should have won game 2. Game 1 after the bad start was close. And I really think they lost this series in game 2. Not coming back to LA 1-1. Maybe Denver would have won it anyway, but coming back down 0-2, I just think kind of broke them.
Yep. And yeah, KCP was their 3rd leading scorer when they won the chip in the bubble. So he's putting it on them. Yeah, I agree.
His defense has been super underrated too.
Yeah, he's incredible.
Yeah, he's a good player, good role player. And I mean, you look at all the stuff they gave up for Westbrook. I mean, my goodness. And whether it's Kuzma, whether it's Pope, the draft picks. I mean, there's just so much. That was where it went wrong because look at what they got back for Westbrook. Beasley, Russell, and Vanderbilt. They've given him nothing in the series. It was really just getting Westbrook off the team that has turned this corner. When the Lakers
they've been giving him bricks. They've been giving him bricks.
Yes, when the Lakers have Davis and LeBron healthy, it's a really good team as long as Westbrook's not in the way. So that trade really buried him. Anything else to add to this game before we get out of here? I guess we'll just go around the horn. Who wins tonight? Brad, who you got?
Denver.
Josh?
Same.
Burroaks?
Yeah. Denver.
Damn, all 4 of us on Denver.
That means the Lakers win by double digits.
They probably
I will say this.
Doesn't get swept like this, does he?
That's a good point. He did in
but he doesn't look good.
The Warriors swept him, but this is older LeBron. This is older.
It depends. Does AD come out and ball out tonight? That's the thing.
It's every other Davis. So he just had a good game. You can't have 2 in a row.
There is a scenario, as much as I like Denver, there is a scenario where they're like, all right, we can say all the right things, but we know we're good. We'll go home back in game 5 and we'll clinch this. Game 4s are always tricky. So you never really know. I would say this, play some alternative lines because if somebody's down big here, they might just say, you know what, whichever team's down big. If Denver's down 15, they could say, you know what, we'll see in Denver. We're fine. We're not going to put miles on this. Same thing with the Lakers and LeBron. You know what? We were 2-10. We got 2 conference finals. We ran out of gas. We'll see you next year. I'll heal up my foot and we'll be back.
Yeah.
So.
And you kind of, like you said, you can get that both ways, right? Like you could go to some of these offerings that you get here where it's like either team wins by double digits, shit like that, or you can bet both, like just middle it,
right?
Bet both of them at like 4-1 to win by more than 10 points or whatever, right? And I really like that theory of one of these teams just folding entirely by like the middle to end of the third if it's out of hand. The Nuggets just so that they can rest to win it at home, and the Lakers being like, well, all right, 1, 2, 3 Cancun, you know?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. All right, boys. Anything else to add before we get out of here?
No, that was great.
Oh, dope.
Brad, Josh, Burroaks, appreciate it. Thank you to Pickett Sports. Thank you to Sleeper Picks. I will be back tomorrow. Good luck with all of your plays, and we'll see you tomorrow.